welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters as we continue things here in Group D. Joined on the analysis desk here by Rotterdam and Artosis, who are currently in, well, eventually will be in Showtime versus Mana and Uthermal versus Gumiho. So, what are you giggling at?
Oh, Showtime. I'm in the lobby for Showtime against Mana. And Showtime asked before, go, and Mana said sec, and I didn't say anything. So a little bit later, Showtime is like, go. So I said, go. And then he started the game, and then he just said, oops, and he made a smiley face. And he's like, well, I hope that he's ready. And now Mana said, like, yeah, I'm ready, but apparently they hosted the wrong map, so now after all. It was just funny, the way he said it.
Damn. Oh well. We need to talk, though, about not only this group, as we could take a look at the standings here in just a moment, as to what's gone down so far from our first series of the day, but also what is to come. So, as you can see here, Uthermal, INnoVation, and Dark have got themselves on the board, whilst Gumiho, Showtime, and Mana are trailing behind a little bit. How are those first results for you guys so far?
To be expected, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, Uthermal being up 2-0 right now, this is kind of like the Alive thing, where I'm looking at it and I'm like...
This is map score, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was confused. I'm like, did I pass out or something? What's going on? Anyways, yeah, okay, so if he's 1-0, it's one game, it's one match. I think it's going to be a hard group for him, to be honest, as good of a player as he is. I think TVT is kind of his weak point, and there's so much good TVT here.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I am kind of proud of Mark, though, like how far he has become as a player. I mean, obviously he's an IEM champion as well. We don't really talk about it, but Uthermal 2, it's not just INnoVation. Uthermal won in Shanghai last summer, and it was a great tournament. He had an amazing final back then against Neeb. Neeb was the favorite, but Uthermal battled through. I just think it's amazing to see how far he has come as a player. You know, I'm not going to go into his entire life story, even though I'd like to. It's a very touching story. But, you know, we're looking
at... It's a very Dutching story is more like
a little bit of both. Now, we're looking at a guy who used to just suffer from nerfs so incredibly much. He was always like pretty decent, but he just couldn't compete. It went up to a point where he got so nervous going even to like a little Dutch land where he started throwing up and he just couldn't play anymore because he got really sick and he couldn't eat. And look at him now, like he's an IEM champ. He shows up here at the World Championships first series, stands on stage like a boss, just wins his first match 2-0 very convincingly. I actually think he can make top 3 in this group. Like, I'm not gonna stand here and say like INnoVation, watch your back, or Dark, you better be shaking in your boots, but I think top 3 is...
I think I can't count out anyone, especially with how well Pili Pili has performed this weekend and how close he was. Maybe he should have actually been in that top 3, to be honest.
Considering the page of this match.
Yeah, but do you think Uthermal will get top 3 here?
I think he has a good shot against Showtime. I truly think it depends on shape of the day, right? I definitely think there are days where Uthermal can take a best of 3 of Showtime. I think overall, obviously, I do regard Showtime as a higher caliber player, but I think it's doable. And let's just see. Let's see what the day brings.
Well, it brings us nicely onto our next match, which is a big match. It's Dark against INnoVation.
Whoa.
Arguably the biggest match we've had of the entire tournament so far. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the best Terran in the world versus the best Zerg in the world. This is like what I am. If you have to ask me at the beginning of the year, I'm expecting both of them to win the most tournaments this year. INnoVation already won IEM Katowice anyways. They did both get eliminated from GSL, but they're both here. I favor one of them to probably end up winning the whole thing. And even BlizzCon, I'm like, this could be a BlizzCon Finals, obviously. Like, this, you can't get a better match.
Rotterdam, any thoughts?
I mean, what can I add, right? Like, he's spot on. These two guys are absolutely fantastic. They're amazing. I do think there is some competition for them in this tournament, obviously. I mean, I always look at Bjorn as well, and I think Bjorn is just a sick puppy. The guy is so good. But these are two of the absolute best. It doesn't really get much better than that. And this would be, I think, a really good opportunity for Dark to give off a statement. All right, enough about these Terrans, you know, enough about all this talk. Like, I know that the round of 32 was really disappointing, but I'm still freaking Dark, and I still want to be the best player in the world. And I should have won BlizzCon, and I'm going to do it this year. So if we want to see that Dark, then let's see if we can bring it to INnoVation.
Dark coming off the back of a win, technically, against Gumiho, 2-1, but it was a hard-fought win. There was a lot of mech from Gumiho. Is INnoVation the kind of guy that's going to be bringing that same kind of flair, but executing it just that little bit better than Gumiho?
He sometimes goes mech. I don't think he will here. When it really super matters recently, he hasn't really been meching as much right now. He did some at Gyeonggi, but since then his matches have been completely bio in the big tournaments. So I'm leaning towards no, he won't go mech. So I think it'll be about as standard as you can get from him. And then of course Dark. Well, I mean he's Dark. We'll probably see a bunch of Corruptors and Lings and Banes.
Yeah. Do you think Dark? I mean, in terms of like his prospects for the tournament, we always kind of look at the line and we're like, okay, these guys are the guys that are going to be able to actually take the whole thing. Is Dark a guy that you realistically seeing take the whole thing when there's people like INnoVation there, or do you think he's the guy that is going to take third, fourth, second?
Yeah, I think he's one of the first outsiders to take the entire thing.
Okay.
I mean, when people looked at this tournament before the tournament, I think if you had to pick 3 guys, a lot of people would probably say Beyond TY INnoVation, maybe squeeze in the stats, and Dark is next in line. So if he wins the entire thing, I mean, calling it an upset would be stupid because it's Dark, but he is not the first pick of many, but he's still Dark.
And yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree. I would pick those 3 Terrans probably first. But I think a lot of that has to do with just currently where Zergs are at in the metagame against Protoss and Terran. I think they're kind of having a little bit of a struggle in both matchups, so I think that's probably why I would say that.
Well, thank you, gents. It's time now to head over to the stage to introduce our 2 international powerhouses to Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.
Thank you very much, Colaris. The boys at the desk have said this many times, but make no mistake, these are 2 of the best StarCraft II players in the world. An SSL champion versus a GSL champion. Please welcome on stage, it's Dark and INnoVation.
Oh, baby. I am excited for this one. INnoVation versus Dark. Artosis already dressed it up for us and put a little bow on it. The best Terran in the world against the best Zerg in the world. Pig, what are your feelings about this series?
2 worlds truly are about to collide. It is going to be an incredible match. These 2 guys have had some really close matches over the last 6 months. Of course, namely, IEM Katowice comes to mind.
Yeah, that semi-final at the final area, the cast out with Funker, that was one of the best memories I've had casting StarCraft II. As far as games go, that was an incredible series going all the way to Game 5, so closely matched. And INnoVation, of course, we know history speaks for itself, got all the way through and became an Intel Extreme Masters champion.
Of course, Dark, the BlizzCon runner-up, a player who had a fantastic run there until Beyond did finally stop him. I don't think he'd even dropped a map until he actually played against Beyond in the finals.
I think you're right, yeah.
He was having a flawless run, but the Reapers got the better of him there. The skill there, of course, of Beyond was a little bit too much on that one day, but he has just still been the most consistent Zerg for a long time now in Korea. He is an absolute beast.
And I am feeling it. Hope you guys watching are feeling it too. In the top left here, this is Dark!
Facing off against him, the blue Terran spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side. It is INnoVation.
The machine. Something like an 80% and higher win rate against people of his own level. People that he faces on the Korean ladder in the high 6,000 MMR point in LANs, tournaments, online performances. He is an absolute monster.
Yeah, he has such consistency over the years, but you know, he has ups and downs. It's funny, when we talk about an INnoVation slump, we talk about him not winning tournaments, basically. We talk about him struggling to maybe get a top 8 or a top 4 hero there, but really these 2 guys are the absolute top of the scene right now. In terms of that ladder consistency, you know, both of these guys have started streaming quite a lot. Instantly massive viewerships on Twitch.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting to see INnoVation. He's a bit higher on the ladder. He does look a little bit more confident in that comfort zone. I'm sure there's people out there who are saying, oh, I think Terran's a bit stronger right now. You know, INnoVation's having a better time of it. But I'm convinced that Dark here is going to bring the fight to him because he has so much tournament experience. He knows how to switch it on when he needs to.
It would be a pretty big shock for me for Dark to just roll over and die to INnoVation and vice versa. Like, if Dark clinches this out in a 2-0 and these games aren't close, I'll be just as shocked. These guys are historically and even recently quite evenly matched. This map, very good for what INnoVation likes to do against Zerg. He is the the tank pusher. He likes biomine. There's a lot of abusable terrain here for him against the Zerg. Makes things a little bit tough when you have to run down cliffs and that sort of thing. And especially if he goes for siege tank pushes, which he does tend to do, he could go and really abuse this natural location of Dark's hatchery here.
Going to be the Reaper coming in to harass in just a moment. 6 Zerglings are out to defend this, but the Reaper just going to bypass them, go right on into the main base, and Dark actually a little bit out of position. A bit of an annoyance here. Going to take a bit of damage and actually drone goes down. That is not meant to happen this early on.
Yeah, getting a drone kill from someone of Dark's level is really not too common, so a nice little pick off there for the Reaper. It does survive. There's the build for INnoVation following up with the double Hellions here, and there's that tech lab going down in the barracks. So going to be seeing a bio follow-up here. Dark getting across with that Overlord. The Reaper coming in. Dark's Zerglings in position to deny. Won't be getting another drone this time.
But just being very annoying here. INnoVation poking in and out, trying to spot what's going on. Does get a good idea of what's happening so far for Dark. Meanwhile, Dark is left on gas mining. Doesn't look like he wants to start up that Overlord speed though, so just banking up for some nice upgrades a little bit later on. INnoVation, in the meantime, is going with a Hellion opening. This is the most flexible opening for Terrans in this matchup. Very nice Queen block, gets a good amount of damage to that Hellion. Looks like it's going to be Hellion Banshee for INnoVation.
Oh, wow, okay.
Very middle of the road here.
Yeah, so he's not actually got any bio units out just yet. He's just taking his time with it, getting the Banshee out first with Cloak. So this is going to delay bio and delay Stim quite a lot here. But Banshee and Hellion, if they're married up together and he doesn't lose the Hellions, he can be in a really good spot. But that said, though, he's going pretty deep here, looking for those drone barbecues.
And he does spot the lair. That's really important. And Dark, he's not going to cancel it. He's going to keep that lair going. So INnoVation knows there's a good chance of very quick tech coming out on the field. Of course, it could potentially be for a nice fast Spire, but Dark does drop a Roach Horn. Looks like he does want to open up with Roaches and Ravagers to start things off.
Well, I know that unit is pretty tough to Corrosive Bile here. It is coming through, but there is, a healthy amount of Queens here for Dark. He should be able to defend, especially now that he's getting a Spore Crawler. Absolutely should be able to defend against these Cloak Banshees, or Cloak Banshee, rather, no plural. And then across the map here, as INnoVation starts to make his third in the main.
And Cloak did get cancelled there.
Oh, he did.
So I was just wondering, I was thinking it can't be done yet. And great observing from our lovely observers showing us that. It is Funker right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, cancelling that. So this is a very non-committal Banshee. He just wants to poke around. If he can get a drone or two, that's going to be great. And at home, no more Hellion production. That factory is just building reactors. It's building add-ons for the extra barracks. So INnoVation really powering up with that fast third command center. Wants to go into the macro game. Not really putting a lot of focus on the aggression.
And this Banshee's going to go down here with 2 drone kills. Not super good. So we've got drones getting powered out here for Dark. As INnoVation, transitions over into straight up bio. 1-1 on the way here. Stim 3/4 of the way done, and Dark double Evo at the front.
A little bit later than a lot of players are used to seeing double Evo. However, this is a really great adjustment by Dark. He's saying, you know what, against these Hellion openings, the Terran doesn't really rush those upgrades nearly as quickly as with those 2-1-1 builds. So I'm going to delay my upgrades a little bit, focus more on just shutting down the harassment and having a sick drone count. We can see that worker lead already quite large in the bottom for Dark. But since INnoVation, he didn't really build too many Hellions. He's actually got his own 1-1 quite far ahead of Dark. So despite being behind in the economy, INnoVation will definitely have some strong upgrade advantages.
So it looks like Dark switching up his tech here. He was making Roaches, has switched over to Lingbane Muta. He's got a bunch of Lings out on the field, denying these Hellions. Maybe he thought there was going to be a Hellbat follow-up or something like that, and he was just being prepared for it. Queen's coming down to defend here. They do bat him away. Drone kills there. Some Ling damage, and he's got the 1-1 away from the Ling with the Spire as well here at the back of the third.
I don't think we actually saw a single Roach get built this game. Yeah, cool to see
like
that.
it.
So great scouting from Dark, great reactive play. Built the Roach Warren, but saw the Hellions weren't being built, so he's just gone, no, okay, that was just for safety. Let's just go into this Mutiling Bane play. And what's really important from this point is INnoVation needs to stop the creep spread. It's really about a battle for Dark to establish a fourth base, get creep pushed out in front of that so that he can defend his side of the map. INnoVation here, though, already pushing out of the map with his first medevac. Stim has finished. 1-1 is almost ready. He wants to push back this creep.
He actually got 3 tumors there and more going down on the high ground and low ground as he continues his push. So many tumors killed with that scan in this push. Widow Mines dropped to the back. The medevacs still alive. Banelings rolling in. A big mine connection there, getting 4 Banelings. That one actually helping out Dark a little bit, killing some of the Marines. And it looks like INnoVation trying to roll in through the back, but Dark defending it very handily. The Lings coming through here, and Dark deflecting this attack.
Does clean up the Widow Mines as well. Good defense by Dark. Lost a couple of Queens there. Really needs to replenish that creep on that southern path of the map, though his 4th base has gone down in a central location, so he's still got a lot of creep around that base. All good defense now for Dark. He's getting up to the Mutalisks. Both players still tied neck and neck.
Very close match so far, as to be expected. One of creep tumors picked off there, not a huge deal. Still plenty of creep on the map here for Dark. He has to replenish the creep on the left-hand side of the third. There's so many paths to go through on Abyssal Reef, and another scan here from INnoVation getting more tumors.
The droppers bypass the Mutas in the north side of the map as well, so there's a drop that's about to come in and hit the natural. The Mutas, though, they turn around, they're coming back. His Overlords did spot it, so Dark is on top of this. He is well positioned, and there is no coming home from this one. INnoVation, he doesn't have any escape.
There's not a ton of mutas, so he has the opportunity to unload in the main and get some damage done, but this is absolutely going to be cleaned up. That's a huge pick off of Dark, and the Queen should do the rest here if the mutas don't catch it first.
Yeah, really nice cleanup by Dark here. Picking up that double medevac right then was fantastic. And I've got to be a little bit critical of INnoVation. He spotted that fast lair early on, but wasn't thinking that mutas would be out right now. He thought he had another minute or so of safety before that mobile anti-air came out, but now Dark has got control of his side of the map. He's got 77 workers. He's got that economy up. If his creep can spread any further, then he is going to get way out of control.
Dark doing a great job in this game, deflecting INnoVation left and right all over the map. INnoVation not finding much critical damage at all. Just several skirmishes in this game. Nothing really tipping the scales too heavily for the Terran player. Mutas coming in here looking for anything they can catch. Medevacs, maybe even a tank or something like that. Widow Mines.
16 Mutalisks. That's a lot of Mutalisks. This is not some small number.
And they're about to have +1 attack as well. Flyer attack about to finish. Oh, the Marines catching the Mutaball on the left here. It looks like they nearly got 2 Muta kills. Definitely got 1.
Yeah, nice maneuver there from INnoVation. But all of this is buying time for Dark. Every moment, INnoVation is back on his side of the map, worrying about Mutalisks. This creep is getting further and further out. The Ling Bane count is climbing higher and higher. Oh, 2-2 is finished, though, for the Terran. The 2-2 for Dark is so far away. This is a perfect window for INnoVation to press that upgrade advantage. Dark needs to buy time.
INnoVation on the edge of the creep here. Splits pretty decent here from him. There's more Zerg where that came from as they roll in. Banelings and Zerglings connecting with the Terran army. Lots of the units of INnoVation go down to Dark here, and the Mutas cleaning up the medevacs as well. INnoVation forced to retreat.
Dark says your upgrades might be great, but guess what doesn't care about upgrades? Suicidal green blobs of acid, just too many Banelings. He had the numbers, his Mutalisks shut down some of the medevacs on the retreat. Here, focusing down Widow Mines, fantastic prioritization. Dark is in control of this game.
What a beautiful game from Dark so far. INnoVation not finding the opening to get the damage done, and the Zerg is starting to spread out of control here. His army is looking so good and so mobile. INnoVation has upgrades going for him. His army is slightly bigger, but Dark's got the mobility, and he's using it to the fullest extent of its advantage here. Nailing on this on the supply depot wall. We know that Dark does love his Ling run-bys, so
it's a real shifting of gears at this point in the game. You know, before this point, INnoVation was all about pressing that upgrade advantage. Now, the 2-2 has caught up for Dark. So suddenly, INnoVation, also after losing that big army, is saying, I've got to withdraw. I've got to fall back, just protect this 4th base, wait for that 3-3 to kick in, wait for my supply to catch back up. At max supply with 3-3 versus 2-2, that's going to be my next window to really start pushing you. But Dark, he's spreading creep everywhere. He's not even going to wait. He's just going to mass Banelings, and it looks like he wants to press that advantage right now while their upgrades are even.
INnoVation blocking a Bane run by their trades very nicely with the splits, but he needs to bring his army over here. Is this fourth planetary? Needs to be lifted and cancelled. The SCV is going down to the Banelings here, but INnoVation with a ton of units still. Oh, a lovely connection with those Banelings. INnoVation losing units, starting to bleed through. The SCV line is done for. The Mutas picking up medevacs as well. INnoVation does hold, but he loses a lot of SCVs.
Sick trade there for Dark. Just finds that window where the upgrades are even, kills off a lot of the important units of Innovations. And, you know, this is so important for a Zerg playing this Mutiling Bane style, because the bigger the Terran army gets, all those ranged units support each other, and there's a critical mass it hits where there's like a wall of Marauders in front, there's Marines and mines spread for miles behind it, and that's when the Terran army becomes super powerful. But Dark is not letting INnoVation reach that point.
Oh, INnoVation's trying to hurt Dark into a huge shot for a winner. Oh! Oh my god, a lot of the Mutas got damaged there. I thought there was going to be way worse than it ended up being. Dark forced to make 10 more Mutas here to replenish the numbers. Did take a lot of damage. I thought he was going to lose absolutely everything, Pig. I was like...
3 mines is the magic number. 2 hit there. He was so close to the third one activating.
Oh, man.
That was still a very sick maneuver there from INnoVation. Just like, yeah, I'm just going to set up 5 Widow Mines on the edge of this cliff. Maybe this will work out. And even though Dark saw it, he was slightly too slow to react. It was no doubt on the edge of his screen or slightly off his monitor as he was focused on where the Marines were coming from. But it works out very well for INnoVation. Now 3-3 is done. He's up against 2-2. Hive is only halfway finished for Dark. Dark is getting pushed back.
INnoVation getting on the creep here. The Banelings rolling in. INnoVation losing a few Marines at the front. Still plenty left over to continue pushing. Dark going for a bit of a Baneling run by with the Lings as well. Let's see how much damage he can get done. Looks pretty naked here, actually, to be honest. A lot of SCVs, long distance mining, could be an easy pickup. But the Lings barreling on the front. Actually,
Dark's engaging on the front as well, going in with these Mutas along with small squads of Banelings. So the Marines have to run away from the Banelings, and the Mutas take advantage of that small window to focus down Marauders, Widow Mines, and Medevacs that are exposed at the front. Just look at this micro from Dark. Fantastic control. Picks away those units, goes in, goes out. He's buying a lot of time for himself. His Hive is now up, but he doesn't have the money to start that 3-3.
He needs to concentrate on getting rid of this Terran push here. INnoVation grabbing the rest of his army, moving it over to reinforce. He needs to get something done here against Dark. His INnoVation's army supply is in advantage. He's using the Marauders at the front to soak up the Banelings, but Dark coming from the back as well. Widowmine not connecting with the Banelings, and just a few Marines here left on the low ground, but the Widowmines connecting with the Banelings there. INnoVation kiting as well as he can. The Marauders soaking up a lot of the Baneling hits. Reinforcement Marines will clean them up.
Oh, the Marine split is fantastic. The Concave in them just gunned down those last Banelings. No more Banelings left for Dark. INnoVation senses weakness. He's going to pounce on top of this opportunity. Dark's 4th base here, his 5th base, is exposed. INnoVation, will he commit? He doesn't know how long till those Banelings finish, but he senses weakness. He's going to go for it. And the Zerglings and Mutas are getting shredded.
The Marines are actually getting torn apart by these Zerglings here, and INnoVation doesn't have enough to continue this push. He's pulling back. INnoVation reinforcing the Dark just with a little bit too much there on the creep, and a medevac being caught as well. INnoVation had a lovely army supply lead, but Dark somehow, someway traded very well there.
Still 3-3 versus 2-2. INnoVation is one of the best Terrans at lifting his main base off at the right time. There will be so many Terrans who 20 minutes into the game will not have moved their command center, but INnoVation understands Terran. He understands the momentum, and look at this, even lifting is natural already. He is far and away the best player when it comes to understanding the economics of Legacy of the Void. Because of this, he's keeping his pushes going. He's still able to keep the pressure on Dark. He doesn't want to give him time to get those 3-3. He doesn't want to give him the time to get the Ultralisks.
What a trade for INnoVation that we just saw on screen there while you were talking, Pig. We saw that the Banelings rolled in, Marauders sucked them all up, and the splits from these Marines are fantastic. A lot of the Widowmines are still alive as well. Plenty of army left here for INnoVation, pressing the issue, but Dark's army supply not too far behind. These Widowmine hits, are they good enough?
Well, they were decent, but I don't know if they're enough. And a lot of the medevacs are going down. The Muta's taking off some really nice damage. That medevac count really down in the dumps, but the Mutalisk count a little bit lower. No Banelings up once again. Both players constantly resetting each other's armies. The supply neck and neck. This is such a close game.
Not too far from Ultralisk o'clock here as Chitinous Plating is on the way for Dark. INnoVation needs to hit this economy, get a hatchery kill. He's going over here for that very task. INnoVation is on the creep, so he has to be careful.
Counterattack is hitting Dark right now. We've got Zerglings wrapping around the reinforce. A few of them working on the SCVs on that lifted off 5th base. The weakness of INnoVation's liftoffs is he doesn't have planetaries protecting those bases, so he needs to keep the pressure on, and he is doing it right now.
He absolutely is picked. These Banelings are connecting with a lot of the bio. Some of it is still left though. These Mutas engaging a little bit too long. They're getting quite low. The Marines are starting to shave their numbers off.
It looks like INnoVation might just barely have enough to break through here. Only 5-6 Mutalisks are left there, and they are going down fast against these three Marines. Dark does finally hang on. He keeps the 5th base alive. He's got a 6th. Does he have a 5th? No, he's still only on. He does keep the 6th up in the north side. Replants that down, but INnoVation is relentless right now. He's not going to give him space. I think INnoVation might just be overwhelming at this point.
He is, and he does. GG. INnoVation winning a very back and forth knife fight there between Dark. Well played, and the machine gets game 1.
Such good play here on Abyssal Reef. I've got to assume that is INnoVation's map pick. It really does play to his advantages with those ledges. But, you know, Dark had a few moments where it looked like he was going to stabilize and hold everything off. But then INnoVation, you know, those Widow Mines catching those Mutas cut off so much of the pressure and allowed INnoVation right back into that game.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to see the series unfold. But before we do, let's go to the desk and see how the other games are going.
Yes, indeed. We can actually already go over to laptop 1 pretty quickly because Artosis does have some stuff going on.
We got some crazy stuff. Gumiho versus Euthermal. Gumiho took game 1, as you can see on the screen there, but this game has been kind of wild because Euthermal is trying to stay aggressive, trying to get something done, and the fact of the matter is he keeps getting good pushes in, but he's way far behind on things like upgrades. Like, look at this. These Marines are 2-2 against just 1-0. So a big difference. And just to kind of mention, this series is really fun. People should go back and watch this when the replays are out. The first game was both of them going Proxy Racks Reapers.
Yes.
And it was just 6 Reapers versus 6 Reapers for a long time running around the map with floating command centers. So very fun first game. The second game has been pretty wild as well, but it does look like Gumiho is going to be able to close this out.
All right, well, thank you very much. And next up, we can go over to Mr. Rotti, who did have the 2-0 between Showtime and Mana with some highlights.
Yep. Before we're going to go ahead and jump into my game, I just want to attest to what Dan just said, because at one point, game number 1 was very close.
Yeah.
It was 6 against 7 supply, but then Gumiho took a massive supply lead. He went up to 9.
Wow.
Things went pretty bad.
It was a crazy moment.
All right, let's go ahead. I've got you guys some moments of game number 1 between Mana and Showtime. As game number 2, I didn't find it a super exciting game, so I decided to go for game number 1. We saw Proxy Robo by Mana, and he actually had a very cute move. Like, he's sharking, he's looking, he's sharking, an old school force field from downtown, from the low ground. So I thought it was a very cool move. Elevated all the units into the main. Got a lot of work done. You know, he's starting to kill 13, 14, 17 workers. And the second Immortal shows up as well. Sentries were a little bit late to the party. But I thought this was going well. After he got that force field down and he killed all these probes, I really kind of thought that Mana had it. But he lost the Immortal, lost his second Immortal, and he left immediately. Now, I can understand why he left, because obviously he proxied to Robo. It's 1 base against 2. But it always feels weird to me to see anybody leave with 23 probes against 10. I'm not going to say he left too early, because I do understand, lost all his units, has no army, has no expand.
But a slither of hope.
Yeah,
even
like
a 1%.
10 workers, like...
Yeah, I mean, you should try to... People just shouldn't leave games. Like, you're in a tournament, stay in your game. By the way, Euthermal did that, but he can't anymore because Gumiho killed him. So Gumiho does take that series 2-0.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much for the updates, gents. We're going to head back over to Dark versus INnoVation. That was already extremely fierce.
Fierce, an excellent descriptive word for this first game of the series. We'll see how many descriptive words we'll get for game 2 and 3. But
it was like watching one of those nature documentaries where the two like wildcats are fighting for some reason over a piece of territory or something. It's a bloodbath when these two guys fight.
I actually did see this. I think this is kind of like Mongoose versus Cobra. You know, like those.
I think it's.
You know the video I'm talking about?
I think I do actually.
Yeah, like the Animal Fight Club type stuff.
Yeah.
Like the wild creatures of the jungles or the deserts just start going ham on each other 1v1. I feel like we're watching this now. It is an incredibly agile, incredibly strong beast against someone that just seems to have the venom to be able to take them out anyway.
Maynard, I can tell you've spent a lot of hours in the dark corners of YouTube. Speaking of that color, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side of Newkirk Precinct It is Dark.
What an intro. Someone give this man a raise. Tarmac, please, if you're listening. In the bottom right here, winning game number 1. Can he win number 2? This is INnoVation.
Up against the Zerg Hope. Dark, the guy who cemented himself as a champion of Zerg in Heart of the Swarm in the later days. One of the guys who would really play his own style. He really revolutionized Zerg vs Terran. Originally was the matchup he became famous for because he was the one player who decided I could play Roaches in this matchup. Even before Ravages were a thing, I can play Corruptors instead of Mutalisks.
Yeah, he was the Corruptor guy.
And I mean, he just has so many different variations that he's capable of. Here in Legacy of the Void as well, he has been one of the best Roach Ravager Infestor players in the early days of Legacy. These days, though, it's almost all Ling Bane, but there's lots of cute openings. Here on Newkirk Precinct, it's a very wide ramp to wall off. So this is a map where he loves to go for a nice, fast speedling pressure off this exact opening. So gas, pool into a slightly delayed hatchery. This is very safe against your Mass Reaper builds, gets you an early Zergling speed, denies Terran scouting, and if he wants to, he can build 10 or 12 Zerglings and hopefully grab a few SCVs off the Terran early on.
Now, this isn't Beyond, so not generally will you see INnoVation go for Mass Reaper builds, has done before. He is in fact going to go for a pretty quick factory here of just one single barracks. There's no 2-1-1 or anything like that, just 1-1-1 here for INnoVation. And there's that speed that you expected here, Pig.
I feel like this is like one of the most common openings in the Korean meta in ZvT is gas pool hatch, and I almost want to say it's because Beyond traumatized the entire professional Korean Zerg scene with his just Mass Reaper strategies. Like, they still do this build because I think part of it was because it's so safe against that, but really being able to deny the Reaper Scout, having the option of these Ling Floods I'm talking about, I think there's a lot of advantages to these sort of openings. So, of course, you also don't need to build early Zerglings because you have a very early Queen out to defend, and you can run a couple Zerglings around the Reaper as Dark's done here and say, hello, SCV, I'm going to have a little bit of a nibble. And that's going to slow that command center down quite a bit.
You trying to build an SCV? You trying to build a CC there, man?
Nah.
That's what you're trying to do? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. That's what the Zergling says. He's just gonna slow that down, and even delaying that just a little is a real pain in the butt because Terran build orders are very tightly ordered, and any second that you delay the command center is delaying it turning into an orbital command, which delays the mule, which is a huge portion of the Terran's income at this early stage.
Absolutely, and it looks like it might actually be quite possibly a Banshee Hellion follow-up again. So yeah, it's kind of looking like that. Same build as last game.
Yeah, it's very flexible, so a lot of the time, like the way he cancelled Cloak last game, there we go, Viking. I love Viking on this map because there's this one path between the two bases, Viking into Medevac or Viking into Delayed Banshee or Viking into Liberator. There's just so many different things you can do off a Hellion opening, and they're all aimed at creating a beautiful barbecue party in the Zerg's drone line. So whether or not INnoVation finds that opening, it's going to be interesting to see. I think last game, he didn't overcommit, and I think it's because he's playing Dark. When you're playing Dark, you know this is like one of the safest Zergs out there. He is so confident in a macro game that he is always going to be on point. He won't let you get any free kills with something like that. Does lose a Hellion there. Great little wraparound with the Zerglings from Dark. He always has the right number of units in the right place at the right time.
And there's that Roach Warren going down again, just in case he's making Ravens. One coming out here for INnoVation. And now the Raven is a really cool unit, especially with the auto turret changes. Can actually kill up to 4 drones usually per auto turret, if not reacted to by the Zerg. It's actually a very high hit point and very heavy hitting spell unit here. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but just I guess a spell unit is what I call the turret.
Yeah, energy unit, spell unit. I tend to call things Warcraft 3 terms still, even though it's 15 years later anyway. But it's definitely very powerful. It would be very interesting to see if he builds multiple Ravens. The real answer to those Ravens is to put Queens on the edge of your base and pull drones away, but interestingly, 10 Roaches on the way. That Reaper, it saw the Roaches coming out. Did it see the lack of a lair? I think it did, and that is gonna Yeah, it saw those no lair, it saw those roaches. This is a tell. Are there bunkers going down? One bunker at the front and a Banshee immediately on the way because INnoVation knows he needs something. He can't build a siege tank. His factory is busy building a reactor. His Hellions going to try and bypass this and keep it at home. He doesn't know how much of a commitment this is. Dark is actually droning up behind this, but INnoVation, it feels a lot like an all-in.
Yeah, it does, and he's got to take this very, very seriously, and there's the Raven getting damage done. A lot of drone kills, actually, for this Raven. Well done by INnoVation. There's the Ravagers, the Roach Ravager attack. Moments away for Dark, and this is tough to hold just with Hellions. He needs this Banshee. Cannot lose that.
This is so powerful. One Banshee will eventually work its way through this, but it's going to take a while. These depots are definitely going down. The Roaches, Ravagers just going to force their way in. The Hellions cannot stand up to this. The SCVs are going to have to be pulled. He's even throwing Corrosive Vials onto the Banshee. Not able to hit it just yet, though. The Hellions, the SCVs pulling up the ramp. They need to try to hang on here. Corrosive Vials taking down the Hellions. So many SCVs are falling.
The Banshee is really INnoVation's only DPS here. The Hellions not doing much at all. SCV's bleeding here for the Terran player. And INnoVation just trying to get any of these Ravager eggs, but no, they hatch full hit point Ravagers in the natural mineral line. Dark has done critical damage.
Massive damage here for Dark. Is finally going to get cleaned up. These extra Zerglings not getting all that much done, but 20 SCVs, a huge amount of lost mining time. Huge pickups here from Dark. He now drops his double evolution chamber. He's got Roach speed on the way and more Roach production. So it looks like Dark, from this opening, from this advantage, wants to go into a very meaty, strong mid-game. Lots of Roaches and Ravagers, and just going to try and overwhelm INnoVation, quite possibly with a strong 1-1 timing attack.
Yeah, the world is his oyster right here. He has taken this game by the reins, doing a great job, but he's actually going to go for 1-1 with melee here.
Oh, Raven into the main base is going to drop another auto turret. Does see the Spore Crawler, it pulls back. He's got enough energy for 2, actually. Nice, double auto turret.
Powerful.
And look at that focus fire. Immediately focus fires the drones and grabs 6 drones, 7 drones. Very well done, INnoVation. Putting some damage into Equalize, very important. He does something here, and he is indeed doing more than something. There's no other anti-air here. This Banshee going to pick up some damage. INnoVation going to equalize a little bit.
Desperation Spore Crawler here from Dark against this Banshee. The Queen losing the fight. Creep spread not connected to the third hatchery, so this Queen is taking a long time to get over here. INnoVation with 15 drone kills from an auto turret, 1 Banshee, and he just leaves.
Oh, man. I mean, Dark's still got a great work account, but the supply is even. And look at this. Dark's been so busy rebuilding workers, rather than having that overwhelming Roach army I was talking about, suddenly it's like, hey, you've got good creep spread, but are you even going to be able to defend this drop, buddy? Because you have barely any units out right now. I'd love to see that production tab. Are there more units about to pop? It looks like a few more Roaches, but there's going to be 10 Stim Marines in the main base. He doesn't see it coming. There's no vision because of that early Viking.
And here comes the drop. Does have Stim, 1-1, just moments away from being finished as well. INnoVation can absolutely engage this army, and he will try. Has to dance out of that bile, though. That was very, very close there, and he just keeps moving forward, killing more Roaches. That Ravager, well, that Roach will not become a Ravager, and these Marines, so hard for Dark to stop.
A bunch of cheap mineral units being traded out here for a lot of expensive Ravagers, as well as those workers. The Queen went down to the auto turret at the very beginning of this, so Dark just taking so much damage. This is getting way out of control. A fantastic opening from Dark, suddenly completely turned upside down. INnoVation showing why he is the favorite to win this entire tournament.
Absolutely. What a recovery. Unless a Terran would be dead by now, but INnoVation has made every correct decision to pull himself back into this game and give himself a lead. Looking real good. The upgrades are going to be fantastic here. Dark still with a pretty scary army. Getting up to the Infestors. He's not done and dusted yet. He has 4 hatcheries.
Is this something Dark's been doing a bit more on stream, is going straight into Infestors off this Ravager. So it's still a Ling Bane build, but with no Spire. Really going to try and get Burrow a little bit later on and just throwing Burrow Defungals everywhere. But here in the mid-game, notice he's got good creep spread. Even though he took a lot of counter damage, he's got good map control, good creep spread. He does have a 4th base up, and his drone count has recovered. Dark still in a strong position here, but once again, INnoVation is ahead in upgrades, and he's got a very scary Marine tank push that's going to hit in about a minute and a half's time, right as 2-2 finishes.
Yeah, quite a bit more in army supply at this point in the game as well versus the Zerg. And he is going to peel off the medevac here. He's filled it up with a Marauder and 6 Marines. He's going to go for a drop, see what he can get done. Hive on the way for Dark. That is dangerous for the Terran player if he lets that get, you know, without trying to slow that down. Would be definitely a mistake. Coming in here, getting a couple creep tumors. Dark coming in to meet the Terran force, though.
This is really important for INnoVation. He wants to clear the way for that 2-2 push I was talking about. Interestingly, he's already got a 4th command center behind this, and his tanks are actually still at home. So INnoVation sort of looking like he wants to do a non-committal poke at the front, but he's got to really be careful. He's spotted the infestors, so he knows that Fungal could land.
Oh, there's a Fungal. Getting a few of the units here, but plenty of Marines left over for INnoVation. He cannot engage that Roach and Ravager army, though. That is too much Zerg, especially with the infestors still available.
Still no burrow down for Dark. He's not going to be able to throw those stealth attacks out. Knew he took a bit too much damage before and wants to focus all of his money on his standing frontal army, the ability to actually engage this. And that is so important because we have 6 siege tanks, Maynard, 6 marauders, 55 marines, and 10 medevacs. This is no army to sniff at.
Absolutely. INnoVation is going to leapfrog his tanks a little bit here. Scanning, seeing if there's any infestors, looking to get a big Fungal on his army here. Big spread of Marines.
Tough. He's going to have to flank this and just come in with one big overwhelming engage, but he's on a timer.
Battery's very low.
It's taking a lot of damage down there. Lingbane's actually going to counterattack. He's not confident engaging the Marine tank, so he starts to split up the army that way. And it looks like he's even going to abandon his 4th base right now.
4th base of Dark is going to go down. INnoVation trying to keep his SCVs alive. He did lose 11 here from this run by, but INnoVation kills the 5th hatchery, and Dark knocked down to 4 bases. Yeah. INnoVation trying to get his 4th, but Dark delaying that further, just being annoying with a Zergling, forcing it to lift, or forcing it not to land.
Dark's losing a lot of income from that lost 4th because he's only just started rebuilding his 4th. He's being forced to long-distance mine right now, but this was a clever decision. If he throws away his army...
Oh, that Fungal, though! And the Corrosive Biles are going to get these medevacs as well. Oh,
wow.
my... Dark, what a beautiful move!
That is the sort of move he needs to get back in this game. Dark, he's still even in supply. He's still got a powerful army, and more medevacs getting sniped down, but INnoVation still has 5 medevacs here in his army. 6, in fact. Tanks are moving forward. Fungal's going out. The medevacs getting blasted out of the sky.
3 medevacs dying with every Fungal here from Dark. He's doing a great job at INnoVation, still with a ton of army here that Dark needs to get rid of, with a massive concave as well. INnoVation is crushing through the Zerg army. GG! You cannot stop the machine!
INnoVation is on fire right now. Flawless play. He gets caught off guard by a giant roach attack, takes huge damage, and then just comes in with a splendid counter attack. Dark just not quite tight enough to stop this man. A lot of players would have thrown up their arms and said they were too far behind after that damage, but not INnoVation.
Yeah, that's right. Does get the victory. Well played by INnoVation. Make some noise for this incredible Terran. Oh, man, what a series.
He just looks like it is nothing. And we're going to hear from the man himself in just a moment, guys. Don't go anywhere.